All right, we are live. How's everybody doing out there? We got a few folks in already. Folks, go ahead and say hello. We got Daryl out there, Willie, Mike. Thank you guys for coming in on a Friday. I guess not coming in, but turning on your computer or device or whatever you got going on.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for viewing. I feel like my chair is just slightly too small. I need a chair that's just a little bit higher.
I feel like this is Goldilocks from the Three Bears.
I'm very picky when it comes to chair height.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
We got some more people.
Where's our, there we go. We got a few more people coming in.
6 people.
Shannon, hello. Good to see you, buddy.
Got 6 people right now.
Again, if you're just now tuning in, go ahead and say hello. Throw up a comment, and we will respond back to you.
Perhaps.
Let's see. We got John. John, good to see you, man. Firearms Connection, good to see you. Hey, I appreciate Convention. I can't see it. The screen's kind of far away.
John said great part 1 today, Gary.
Yeah, thank you very much. How'd you do that? How'd you make that screen bigger?
I don't know. I clicked on something.
You just did something amazing. All right. Firearms Convention. Hey, thanks for thanks for subscribing and checking out our videos and commenting. I've been seeing you in the comments of the videos lately, so we appreciate that. Paul, good to see you. Let's see.
John Jax is here.
John, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
He said, you said throw up a comment.
Hello, a comment. Some people's children.
Ronaldo's here. Oh, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So you sent over pictures of, I forgot to show you the pictures Ronaldo sent over of his setup from us.
Don't worry.
Sorry, Ronaldo.
She often fails me as well.
I do. Pretty much. All the time.
I'm excited.
Yeah, he's taking it out to the range apparently. I think.
We'll post those up on all the socials later on. All right. We got a few more people just jumping in. Again, throw up a comment, say hello. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We really do. All right. So this is, I know you guys can't see it, but some sexy pictures of Ronaldo's Daniel Defense Delta 5 Pro that he got from us. All set up, ready to go, ready to shoot some stuff at long range. I just like your backsplash, Ronaldo. That's a nice one. I like it. And
hey,
the countertops. Who else is jumping in? Let's see.
These are like the countertops at our old house.
That kind of looks like the countertop in the bathroom.
It does. Yeah.
Firearms Convention is cranking out ammo, and on the Dylan watching us, hey, we appreciate that. That's pretty much the standard. Everybody should be loading ammo as they watch us right now. If you care about the Second Amendment, I'm just saying. Who else we got out there? Let's see. Aaron.
We got Aaron.
Throw up his comment there.
From Indy.
Indy. I'm assuming. Oh yeah, Aaron Banesh. We talked on the email a couple times. We got you taken care of, hopefully, and yeah, I'm excited about the long range course. It's always my favorite courses every year. Mm-hmm. Again, anytime we get out the range is a lot of fun. But you know, again, long range is where my heart is. If we could do that all day, every day, you know, maybe do some pistol and rifle during lunch, I'd be fine with that.
John said, hey, Summer, thanks for the super fast shipping on the last order. I wasn't even ready for it. Does that mean you didn't have a hiding place for it yet? I don't know.
Probably. See, Paul, Summer, is your email working or are you ignoring me because I'm taller than Gary?
Are you taller than Gary?
He is taller than me.
Yeah.
He's very tall.
No, I'm not ignoring you. Might have got lost in my inbox or something.
We work full time catching up on emails, Paul. I promise you.
Yeah, we do. Definitely not ignoring him.
One of these days we'll both be able to afford an assistant, or we'll just get
an assistant.
These two people trained up. All right, so we'll jump right into this. Again, we really appreciate everybody showing up. I think we got a cool show for you today. We're going to hit a bunch of different topics. We'll talk a little bit about the video I posted today. I appreciate everybody's very gracious comments on that. again, I know I mentioned it a couple times in the video, but that is something we're going to continue to do. We're going to make sure that we're giving you extremely detailed information when it comes to a lot of these different optics, as well as any other. I'm setting up a test bench where we have a concrete test bench. I have some stuff coming from Ransom Rest where we are going to lock these rifles down. We'll be able to get extremely detailed, repeatable accuracy information, as well as scope tracking information. So again, we appreciate all that stuff, and I know everybody said the video was great, and I agree. All I see is a bunch of stuff that we need to improve on personally. But again, that video was definitely a lot of work. By far the most intensive video I've ever shot, as well as the editing portion of it between throwing in the Tacticam. Never mind the fact that life is harder when you're stupid, and when you don't hit the record button, have to reshoot some things over the next few days. It makes it a lot tougher. And it's just a second here. I'm going to bring in Dan, our IT guy. He's done just an amazing job. I can't even tell you guys enough what he's done for us as far as on the website side, as well as linking everything up, getting products up for us. Has just been a huge help and a force multiplier for us. And we're continuing to make improvements on that. Our big goal, just like I stated the other day, is to start getting away from basically being more self-sustaining and making sure that we don't have any systems that are reliant on these anti-gun big tech, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, all these things, and even YouTube. We're going to start making sure that we use these platforms, but also we have a backup, right? Because we've already, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but again, we had PayPal just shut us down a couple years ago. They took $8,000 of our money, had no intention of getting it back. We got a lawyer. We ended up getting some of it back. But again, it's just this constant barrage of anti-gun nonsense. And yet you can be, some lunatic out there, whether you're a terrorist or whatever else, and they continue to support those. So,
and then even this week we realized that they've shut down our Facebook reviews, so no one can leave new reviews on Facebook for us. I think you can still view the old ones, but
yeah, no, I can't even find the old. Actually, it leaves the rating. It leaves the 4.8 rating. I couldn't find the old ones. So, it is what it is, and we understand that the operational environment that we're working in, and we're doing our best to mitigate any sort of negative effects that we have coming from these activists. So, with that being said, I want to bring Dan in. He's going to talk a little bit about some of the improvements that we made on the website and some of the things that we're working towards as well. So, bring Dan in here.
There he is.
Dan, what's up?
What's up? How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Talk to us, Dan. You said you were going to nerd it up. Let's nerd it up a little bit.
I'm going to nerd it up. So we started with the website and just getting something going about 2 years ago now. And we are seeing a lot of heavy traffic coming in. We are tracking all the traffic. As soon as everybody hits the websites, we're seeing it, what everybody's doing, how they're enjoying the site, and what's not working. So we started to look at all the various providers who can bring us the biggest, fastest speed and be closest to everyone, leveraging data centers across the U.S. So that being said, I really want to reach out to all the people listening.
Take us out.
If you guys are seeing anything that you want to see on the website, or something that you want to experience, or new features, things like that, feel free to reach out to us. And we love to add it in. We're trying to add as much capability as we can as quickly as possible. We're trying to really capture all your feedback. We do have a forum. We do have some of you that are leaving comments on different posts that are up there. We do respond to those immediately. And of course, if you run into any issues, it's my fault. I'll do push-ups, I promise. So
again, one of the big things that Dan has done for us too is we are currently off the web service that we were using, and as I understand it now, Dan, we have our own server, right?
Yeah, we have our own server. So we were on a
big time
shared
now.
platform.
We have our own server.
Yeah, we were on a shared
deal.
platform before. There was a lot of hiccups with it. There was some downtime that some of you experienced, and it was just biting us. So with that, we just last night we moved it into our own independent server. So we're ready to handle all of the traffic that we can get.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to improve on that. And again, folks, if you experience something, please let us know. Again, we're it's literally me, Summer, and Dan doing all that stuff. So if you see something that's going on, whether it's, the site's down or whatever else, any feedback on that will really help us, or just the overall experience. What is great about this new platform and how we're going about this is everything is much more customizable. So if we can improve the customer experience on that digital side when it comes to purchasing, signing up for courses, all that stuff. So we have a lot more flexibility and can just customize everything a lot more. And again, the intent here is to make sure that everything is working correctly in the way that it's supposed to. So, that's really what it is. What else, Dan? What else is going on?
I would add a note around, we do have a page dedicated for alumni, for FAQs and special things that are available for the alumni for course discounts or shop discounts. So if you have questions, feel free to jump on there. I think 2 webcasts ago, maybe 3, you had mentioned that we opened up the capability for payment plans. So that's there. There's some FAQs around that to use. But really, I'm really curious to get a lot of people's feedback on what kind of things we can add to it, make it more interactive, make it really use it as, like Gary, you mentioned, a place where we can gather, that we're not dependent on these non-2A friendly social sites.
Yeah, if we could, maybe we can figure out how to integrate some forums on there, get some blogs going, and even things, folks, whether it's you uploading videos, training, again, we want to be a depository for all that information. Basically, have our own social media site to some extent, where you can again add a lot of that stuff. All the stuff that you would do on Facebook that you might get in trouble for, you can add to our site. And whether it's like with Ronaldo, we just set him up a gun, send it to us. He sent us some pictures. It'd be great to be able to post those pictures, which we will. We'll post some of those pictures up on our website as well. Another happy client that we got for a gun.
John had a question. I think Dan's talking about there's some facts on the website for alumni, John. On the Paramount Tactical website, not on Facebook. And then John, pre-orders for out-of-stock items. We actually just added a pre-order ability last night, apparently. So we'll get that up and running and figure out how to best utilize that. Right, Dan?
Yeah, so there's 2 things, right? So one is pre-order, so things that we know are coming or that can be acquired. And then there's a back order capability. We do turn back order on capabilities for products. As Summer tells me that she can get them, we start adding that kind of back order capability. But like the rest of the industry, there's a lot of supply chain issues. So I think that's going to be some of the things that you're not able to place a back order request on. So the capability is there. If you're seeing it for the product that you want, there's a high likelihood that we're going to be able to get it. And so then we add the capability on the website.
Yep. Paul has a great feedback here. We're stepping up our game. Paul, we certainly are trying. We're working at it, making good strides.
Yep. So we, the idea here is to constantly improve. Jackson, I need you to rotate it again because no, my mic's back. All right. So, so we're going to continue to improve and in every aspect, whether it's on the training side, whether it's on the customer experience side, as we continue to grow and expand. That's the intent, and that's where the money goes. Look, we're basically running this place sort of like a nonprofit in that everything that comes out of the business is going back into the business.
It is.
Again, we really, I can't tell you guys enough how much we support, how much we appreciate your support. And again, you're helping build this business.
Good,
and again, it's really appreciated. Good. Whether you're contributing to our Patreon, $5-10 a month that you'll never notice really goes a long way for us. And again, it's going right back into the business, as well as purchasing things from us. I know there's lots of sites out there that can sell some of these things for $5-10 cheaper. But again, number one, if you contact us, if we can cut a price on something and match a price, we're going to try. We do our very best to give our clients, we don't want to be a company of pity, right? Where you're like, oh, I'll give you another extra $10. Look, we want to compete with everybody. So the point is we appreciate the business, and it goes right back into the business. So if you want to continue to support the Second Amendment, if you want to continue to support a company where we can continue to provide training like this and educate people, we think that we're a good investment. And again, we just really appreciate it. What'd John say?
John says that part 1 was a monster step up on any review on scopes I've seen on YouTube, as was the Delta Pro 5 review.
Oh, we appreciate that, John. Like I said, that's the level of detail that I want to make sure that we're getting on all of our products, whether we're talking about doing accuracy tests, and making sure that we have these guns locked down where we can give you real objective data that is repeatable, and making sure that we're not putting some sort of slant on it. My goal is to take me and any sort of bias out of these things to where we can do that. So anyways, again, we really appreciate that. Dan, you got anything else?
No, feel free to reach out to me directly if you'd like at web@paramounttactical.com with any ideas or things that we can add to the website or improve the social aspects of it. Otherwise, I'm as an alumni myself, we're glad to be part of the Paramount community.
Yep, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to build a community, a family of people that are like-minded, and create our own echo chamber. And I don't have a problem saying that either. We don't have a problem. We don't have a problem with people that think differently than us. I just don't want to spend any time with them. So.
I'm with that.
You're terrible. Well, Dan, we certainly appreciate you and glad you come on and join us tonight.
Yep, thanks for coming on, Dan, and explaining it to everybody. Again, that is web@paramountTactical.com. If you have anything you want to email Dan directly, some suggestions, some advice, whatever it is.
Wait,
so
Mike's got one last question. Well, Mike, you'll see him next weekend.
Yep, he'll be out there next weekend.
Yep.
Looking
All right,
forward
Dan.
to it.
Have a good night.
You guys have a great one.
All right.
All right, so again, enough with the tech side of it. Let's talk about a few things. Number one, I'm sure some people have some questions about the review that we posted today regarding the Arken. So if you have questions about that, if it's covered in the next video, I probably will be a little bit vague because I want you to make sure that you watch that because, again, a lot of this stuff ends up being a context issue too. Making sure that we're putting things in context, and I do my best to try to do that with the conclusion video of this. Again, if you haven't, I've seen some other people jump in here. If you haven't said hello, if you'll throw up a comment so that we can say hi back. And again, we appreciate everybody watching. So, I guess generally what I can say is that when it comes to this optic, this Arken EP5, the overall experience with the thing is pretty shocking. It is, the glass in this thing is very hard to tell the difference between that Nightforce. That's usually where companies end up cutting the most corners is in the glass. And again, hopefully the video illustrates it pretty well, but the quality of the glass in this thing is right up there with some of the big names. And, it's almost, some of the testing and stuff that I did with this, it's almost unfair to compare this directly to a $3,500 scope, but clearly that's what they were trying to, this has all the exact same stats as that ATACR 5-25. So I thought that was fair in that regard, but I'll tell you, I'm quite certain that a lot of scopes out there that are a similar price, similar spec, would not do nearly as well up against that Nightforce as this one did. And I mean similarly priced and similarly spec'd as the Nightforce. So, $2,500 to I'll tell you right now, up there, some of my favorite scopes, that's not that one, but on some of these other scopes over here, I have $2,000 Bushnell Elite XRSs. And I can tell you right now, those are not as good in the many qualities as this. So this continues to blow my mind as far as the value that it offers and what we got going on with this. Did I make a good choice buying the EP5 that is on order? Absolutely. I think ultimately, if the question of the night is, do I recommend this scope? Yes. Anything other than duty, right? If you're law enforcement, if you're using it for law enforcement or military, I don't think this is the scope for it. But I don't think that really anything other than Nightforce is a scope for it. When it comes to durability, there's just no question in my mind right now that Nightforce is the scope to buy if durability, reliability, and just peace of mind is where you're at. That's what it is. But I'll tell you, I do think these things can take a beating. I do think they're generally tough. I just think, again, it's a top tier scope when we're talking about Nightforce, and it's top tier for a reason. And again, I don't think that a lot of the other scopes out there that are big names, Vortex, Bushnell Elite, I wouldn't recommend those for duty either. So, that's good.
John's here.
John, great to hear from you.
And Ed's here.
Ed, good to see you guys.
Tell Debbie we said hello.
Yes, absolutely. I have a simple question because I'm a computer tard. How do we find the round count on class? I plan on doing a layaway plan and take courses. All right, so typically what we've always done is a few weeks prior to a course.
A couple weeks usually.
Yeah, a couple weeks prior to a course, we send out a welcome letter which has the round count.
And a gear list.
And a gear list. It's just a welcome letter. It covers all of those questions. And I do understand that a lot of people are preparing for these courses. So what I'm going to try to do is get a gear list, basically the welcome letter for each course up on the website that can be accessed 24/7. It'll save Summer a lot of headache. I'll tell you, one of the big catalysts, I guess, reasons we made a push to start moving away from Google, which is what our current website, not website, but our mail service is through, is all of a sudden, again, I don't know if this is some grand conspiracy or whatever else, all of a sudden, all of our emails going to people were going directly into the trash, which they'd never, the junk box. That had never happened
just
before.
not appearing at all. Their servers
And some
are
of those are
eating
just,
it.
just not appearing at all. So
just FYI, guys, none of my emails are going through. So check your junk mail folders.
And we're still in that situation because we haven't completely transitioned away from that on the mail side. We're in the works of that, but we got to go and we got a lot of historical data in all those emails, as you can imagine, that we need to make sure that we are putting aside, make sure we're preserving those so that we can reference them later. Everything from business to legal stuff. So, so that's one of the big things. But again, we're going to get a round count, the entire welcome letter that gives you directions. It tells you what you need to have, what we recommend extra to have, as well as all your rounds and all your other gear. So, typically though, when we're looking at our level 1, level 2 handgun and rifle courses, we're typically looking around a 300 round count per day. Plus or minus some, just depending on if you want to do drills additional times. A lot of times we'll have some time built in to where we can, some people need some one-on-one work, so we end up doing a few more drills with them one-on-one. So again, with about 300 rounds and a 10% above that ish. But if you show up with 300 rounds, we're going to make sure that you get a good training experience with what you got, right? I know ammo is difficult to buy, and we've even reduced our round count a little bit just because of that. As it stands, so really probably more like 250. So if you show up with 300 on a pistol or rifle course per day, you're going to be taken care of.
Daryl, it is at Peacemaker. That was buried in the course description. We didn't realize it on the backside of the website, so I went in and corrected all that this week. It is at Peacemaker though.
Yeah. So our long range courses, both level 1 and level 2, are at Peacemaker, which is right here in Hedgesville. If you want to look up Peacemaker National Training Center, you can look that up. And again, we have our long range. We got next weekend. We have our tactical carbine level 1 and 2 coming up. You guys will definitely want to come check that out. We're going to show you how to push the performance of that AR. Make sure that we're pushing your performance, increasing your abilities. And if there's anything that you'd ever want to know about an AR, from function to ammo to accessories, all of that stuff is covered. Also, if you're a new shooter and you've never shot an AR, we have loaner guns. We have loaner equipment. We really try to make it easy for people. We want to be the gateway drug to your shooting addiction. So, you can get here, get some information, be educated. That way, when you do leave here, if you decide to buy a firearm or gear, you know what to buy. We want to make sure that we got you covered on that. What did Aaron say?
Aaron says, I just checked my junk mail folder going back to February. If you sent me anything, I don't see it. Yep, so like I said, some emails are just getting eaten completely. Aaron, all that information is going to be re-emailed this coming week, probably. On Monday.
Aaron's scheduled to come to our long range.
range.
Yeah, so Aaron, again, for that, with ammo count, we're looking around 200. It's really usually ends up being more like 150 for a level 1 for the weekend there. So as far as ammo goes, we got you taken care of there. That's the number there. As far as all your other gear, again, we got everything that you could possibly need. We go through gear. We show you exactly what makes sense, what doesn't, what is a good investment, and what is a waste of money. when it comes to long range gear. There's just a ton of junk out there and a ton of junk information out there. So we try to kind of weed through that and just make it a simple process. I think, I've said this before, but I think people try to intentionally overcomplicate long range shooting. It's not that complicated, but you do need to have solid information so you can make good decisions, whether it's gear, glass, ammo, guns, whatever it is. What other questions we got?
John just says, reminder for the ladies discount. If I can get my wife to understand that, just have her give me a call, John.
Yeah, and we've actually expanded that, John, just to make things easy, both for us and everybody else. The ladies discount is 50% for level 1 courses, handgun and carbine, for the rest of the year. So for all of 2022, but get in those courses. We had several ladies out the last course. And again, we want to get more ladies involved in this and all shooting sports, but just shooting in general, right? So I think they make some really good contributions. Again, we got some more people coming in. If you've just showed up, say hello, and we will say hi back to you. We love to see new folks, and we appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Any other questions about the Arken review before we get to a couple other topics?
Give people a couple of minutes. Pop up any questions?
I definitely think you guys are going to like the conclusion. That's where all the kind of meat and potatoes, I think, really happens. Again, we're going to do a 10-foot drop test on that. We're going to, we basically zero that gun. We get it zeroed. We have them in the spur mounts. We take them off, put it back, check to see what kind of point of impact shift that we're getting just from taking them off, putting them back. So we have a baseline of information so that after we drop them, we can also see if there is any sort of additional impact shift just from the drop itself. So I think that it's good information, and it helps you make a better decision overall. Like I said, folks, the stuff that I covered in level 1 as far as the areas that they need to improve, I can tell you right now that the parallax is a little strange. It is definitely acting more like a focus. So what I'm trying to figure out, and I've kind of reached out to a few people, is how to test parallax or the accuracy of parallax on a gun. I've always found that there's some variance. Basically, so if you guys don't know, how you test parallax is you set your parallax to whatever yardage that you are shooting at. Let's say you're at 500 yards. You find on this dial where it says 500 yards. The fact of the matter is, almost every scope out there, the parallax is not going to. Almost every scope that I found, the parallax is not perfect, right? And it may have something to do with the optics when it comes to your eye, and even your vision and everything else. So what you do is, once you set it to that, you get down behind the rifle and you just barely move your head a little bit. And what that parallax is essentially doing is projecting those crosshairs onto the target at that range. So again, parallax is the phenomenon of, as I'm putting my finger on the screen, but as I move my eye, the position of my finger is changing, but it's only in relation to my eye and my target. Well, again, if I was to put my finger on the screen, all right, no matter how much I moved, that my finger wouldn't move around, right? So it wouldn't move off based on the target. So it changes the relation of the shooter. So it's changing and projecting those crosshairs on the same plane as the target, ideally. So if I get behind there and I have this set to 500, I know my target's at 500. When I get back down here and I shift just a little bit, if you do it too much, of course, there's going to be some parallax based on the back of the scope and some other things. But that reticle shouldn't move around. And I've always found that once you do that, you have to play with it a little bit on almost every scope. Again, what it shouldn't be working as is a focus. Now, if you're completely way out of parallax, if your parallax is completely wrong, you will have a focus shift, and it will be out of focus a little bit, either your target or the background. But it shouldn't be that big of a difference. This shouldn't be working as a focus, and it is. So I'm going to reach out to Arken and hopefully talk to some of their engineers and see. That was probably an area where they cut some corners. Is it a big deal? I don't think so. But we'll do some shooting at distance to the next long range course, test this rifle, test this optic out, and get a little bit more data that particular subject. What else? What other questions we got?
Dan just said he loved how you walked through the mill settings. It blew his mind on accuracy.
I'll tell you what, folks. Setting up that tracking test was 3 days of it was actually ended up being 4 days. 4 days of pain, right? I mean, there's probably 20 hours of work plus just into that one part. Getting this rifle settled down, getting it locked in to where it doesn't move, getting the target locked to where that doesn't move, and then, you know, even though I had that locked in, every time I touched this and started dialing, it moved a little bit and then it would settle. So it was tough. So having a bench where we can lock things down and everything's stable is going to be a lot of help.
Yeah, I was literally walking on eggshells. It felt like.
Yeah,
Trying not to
I was
move
like, "Don't walk out here on the bench." I was yelling at her and the kids. Don't walk out on the patio right now.
Don't walk.
Because literally, even if I shifted my feet, it would change things. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge. So I appreciate you guys appreciating that. What
if
other?
you don't, you should.
Yeah. What else did I cover in the first one as far as kind of cons? I think that was the main thing.
Parallax.
Yeah, the parallax shift. You know, tracking was definitely a little off in the windage. We were getting about a loss of 1/10 of a mil every 4 mils. You know, but 1/10 of a mil, even at distance, isn't that much. And again, it could be. I know if I reach out to Arken right now and really discuss it with them, their answer would probably be that it's this optic, right? You got a bad one. I don't know if they'd say that or not. I don't know what their kind of plus or minus is on the accuracy of, but I will tell you, based on the testing, the elevation was spot on, and that's what matters the most. So that was really impressive. I shame people in class for having out of ordinary, having just ordinary long range guns, asking for a friend.
Out of the ordinary long range guns.
What do you mean by out of the ordinary? It depends.
I think John is the friend.
What's that?
I think John is the friend.
What do you mean is the friend?
Asking for a friend.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say he's the friend. Me, myself, and I have three friends. What are we talking about out of the ordinary? Because chances are, yes. You know what? I'm just gonna throw that there. Chances are, I'm gonna make fun of you. A bullpup. No. So you probably what's the brand of bullpup that you have? No, you know. There's several bullpups out there that are very good. I'm trying to think of the long range name escapes me right now.
Desert Tech.
Yeah, the Desert Techs. Desert Techs. Those are pretty good. The only thing that I don't like about bullpups, number one, so bullpups are great for CQB because even if you have a 16-inch rifle, the way that is designed, where basically it puts that barrel and chamber back by the buttstock, it allows you to have a much shorter gun while maintaining any sort of legal issues, right? So you can keep a 16-inch rifle. Normal AR is going to be this long. A 16-inch bullpup is not going to be much longer than 16 inches, maybe 20 inches. So that's nice with that. The only concern I have with bullpups is, when we're shooting these high-powered cartridges, you're talking, 60, 70,000 PSI. I just don't like the idea of having my chin and all my, meaty parts that right there, because at some point one of those will likely explode, and that's the only downside of it. But, I know you, John, you like to live on the edge.
John says if you can hit the target.
That's right. You can bring a slingshot for all I care. I can't wait to run my cheap Ruger American Predator 308 in a long range class. Absolutely.
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it out. And again, the other opportunity for everybody is, we're going to have multiple different style rifles, everything from Remington 700s to, these chassis guns, all of that stuff. So, we'll have those available so that you can get on it and try a bunch of different guns and not just go look at them or hold them in a store, but actually shoot them. 270 Remington, is that out in order? My 300 mag hurts me when I shoot. Well, what you can do Paul, is if you lube that up with some testosterone, it usually helps take out some of the sting. Maybe sprinkle it testosterone on your shoulder. No, 300 Win Mag is no joke. Sitting there shooting 150 rounds at a time with Win Mag will wear anybody out. Nothing wrong with 270. 270 Win is still a great cartridge.
I'm sorry, but you asked for that one, Paul.
The problem, not the problem, but if you guys don't know, when it comes to the 6.5 Creed, 6.5 Lapua, 6 Lapua, all these new cartridges are the bullets are designed differently, so they're going to fly much more accurately than the older designed bullets, which based on the 308 cartridge, right? So whether we're talking about 308, 270, some of these other, those are awesome rounds. But again, when it comes to the pure ballistics, all of those newer rounds the CNR is longer. Just ballistically, the ballistic coefficient is much lower. So that's where you're getting a lot of the benefit of these newer rounds, and that's why 6.5, which is essentially a 270, the 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Lapua, they're going to be much more consistent and have a better ballistic coefficient than the 270 round. So it is what it is. It's actually more like 260, but it is what it is. Do you think the Delta 300 PRC is an option to swap out? I hope so, Sharon. That's actually, I don't know. That's something I'll shoot an inquiry. I bet they are, because that is such a popular cartridge. Put that back up here. What do you say? 300 PRC or 6.5 PRC? Yeah, 300 PRC. My next rifle, or potentially a new barrel, will definitely be 6.5 PRC. So if you guys don't know about that, the PRC rounds are essentially the Magnum version of, a 6.5 PRC is essentially the Magnum version of a 6.5 Creedmoor. So those, if you're wanting to shoot, a mile plus consistently, as well as, obviously they're a lot flatter shooting. There's a lot of benefits. We see a lot of folks shooting those types of rifles, the PRCs, in PRS competitions and things like that. So there is a big benefit to those, and I hope they come out with some new barrels just for that. Hey, I want to buy Aero Precision M5 IPSC. I can't decide whether I should for 308 version or 6.5 over here in Sweden, but I really love the 6.5 Creedmoor. First of all, fat and bald, 9-year-old. I'm betting you're not 9. First of all, again, I really appreciate you tuning in from Sweden. So my advice, when I get this question a lot, I would really say go 6.5. I understand that it's more expensive. Number one, ballistically, it is superior to 308 by more than a significant amount in my mind. Number two, I really do think over the next 5 years, you're not going to see 308 anymore. 308 is going to kind of go the way of 30-06. So as far as just ammo availability, because it's so popular, as far as any sort of reloading components and things like that, I think you're going to start seeing 308 become harder and harder to find. Right now, there's a surplus of it because of that transition. And so, yeah, right now, short term, you can probably find 308 a lot cheaper. I think long term, 5 years from now, it may be a little more difficult. With that being said,
just buy both.
Or buy both. Or, you can get a rifle that you can easily switch out a barrel. And for $300, when you can't find 308 anymore, you can switch over to 6.5. So that's another option as well. And that's what's nice about the 308 cartridge, or the 308 platform in general, which the 6.5 and even the 6mm are both based on the 308. So those, whatever action you have is going to be compatible with those 6.5. So
here's a follow-up question. Says, will the 6.5 chew up the barrel crazy fast?
No, not crazy fast. I have it listed on the last video I did, but they gave me a round count that they expected out of the Daniel Defense barrels, which is about it was a little higher than your standard barrels, but I want to say you'll get about 5,000 rounds out of 6.5, whereas you might get closer to 8,000 rounds. I've even seen barrels with over 12,000 rounds on some of the old 700 sniper rifles that we had in inventory when I was in the military. We had one that had like 12,500 rounds, was still shooting a minute of angle. I bet they put another 5,000 rounds plus on it. So 308 does have a long barrel life. That being said, what we weren't doing is really, we weren't doing any sort of, we weren't chronographing that 12,000 barrel, right? So at some point you are going to start to see your muzzle velocity drop, just because we're starting to wear that barrel out. So it's not as tight around there. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose accuracy. And that's what most PRS shooters are doing. They're not waiting for the barrel to lose, accuracy. What they're doing is, as soon as we start seeing any sort of significant muzzle velocity drop, they're getting rid of that. With IPSC and some of those other ones, it may not matter as much. So, you might end up, again, if you're just shooting IPSC or some of these other competitions where you're not doing extremely long range stuff, you're probably fine with 308. And so there, ultimately I laid out the facts, and you kind of can make a decision from there. I'm going back to watch your scope mounting video to prepare for TAC carbine. One, how do you set up proper eye leaf? Well, you just basically make sure that you're setting that gun up. Excuse me. You're putting that, a couple things. Number one, how I always mount, especially a AR platform optic, because you have such limited room, you're going to use a cantilever mount to begin with, right? So that mount, let me make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about real quick. Let me grab a gun off the wall.
The wall o' guns.
Weapon is on safe. We're going to do a 3-point check, and we're clear. All right. So that's a great question, Dan. If you guys notice here, hopefully, hey, Jackson, give me a down shot. Look, we got a overhead cam here. All right, folks, if you notice here, we have the mount itself, and then we have this cantilever portion on this gun, and I want to make sure I get a good. All right,
Forward.
Move this gun just a little bit. All right, so we have this cantilever option, right? Because we need this eyepiece to be about here on a rifle and an AR platform to get the correct eye relief. So we need to forward mount these rifles. So you're going to need a cantilever mount. Now, with that being said, on all ARs, what I do is I always mount the optic as far forward as I can, because that way, if I need to, I can pull this back a notch or two on the rail, right? So if you just mount it all the way forward, get it perfectly square, and then you can use the rail to make any sort of, again, we're talking like 1/4 inch movements forward or back, and that can make the difference. So with an AR scope mount, I'm not worried about setting up eye relief. I mount it as far forward as possible, and then I can move that forward and back, and again, usually back a little bit, or I just simply can adjust the buttstock a little bit to get the proper eye relief. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that helps somebody.
All right, both John and Dan have questions.
Okay.
So John said, Gary, do you have time to reload?
Jackson, give us a forward video, please.
He says, if you do, what do you reload? Do you recommend any reloading systems? And a follow along to that was Dan asking, how do you even get into reloading, and is the juice worth the squeeze?
So yes, the juice is worth the squeeze for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I think it's really fun to reload. The answer is yes, I do reload. Do I reload often? No, because I don't have time. There's a lot of really good reloading equipment, and it comes down to, are you reloading precision cartridges, or are you reloading, just 9mm or pistol or carbine? So there's definitely some different gear that you might want to consider when it comes to that. I use the Forster. I really like the Forster. I have it right over here, and a whole bunch of reloading equipment that I don't use that much. But you know what we can do? Let's do we need to do a whole segment on that, because that is not a quick answer. But reloading is definitely, the juice is worth the squeeze, especially the last couple of years, the last 2 years or so. Everybody that I had all the stock of reloading stuff had ammo, whereas everybody else was running around and selling one of their kidneys to get ammo. So I think for a self preparation, it's good. It's a good skill to have. It definitely helps you understand ballistics a lot better. It gives you a much deeper understanding of the science of external and internal ballistics. So I think there's a lot of major benefits to reloading, and I really like reloading for my 4570 over there, right? So the 4570 over there. It's a straight wall cartridge. I get super OCD when it comes to reloading for precision stuff. To the point I've actually had razor blades out cutting grains of powder before. It's stupid. Whereas reloading for a 4570, you dump the powder, you measure it, you have a good measuring system. The RCBS electronic dispenser is a really good piece of kit to have, especially for something like that. Having a good trickler, and so there's a lot of stuff there. But what's nice about that older cartridge, the cartridge has been around for over 100 years. You got a straight wall design. It takes a few minutes to load quite a bit of rounds, and it's a lot of fun with that. I love that gun too, it's fun to shoot. You can buy all kinds of different rounds for it that do a lot of different things, or you can just use the old lead stuff. So that's pretty cool. So the answer is yes. I do reload. I just don't do it very often, and no, I don't have time to do it.
Ed said the wall to create jealousy.
It is there to create jealousy.
Justin said production quality is awesome. Thank you, Justin.
Hey, thank you. It's amazing what you can do with a $400 camera. $400 camera, like a $100 lens.
Dan said as far forward as possible before you hit the handguard. Talking about the cantilever mounting the...
No, what I'm talking about is the scope inside that cantilever mount. You can mount that all the way forward. Mm-hmm. And then you're moving the entire mount and the scope backward or forward to adjust for eye relief. Does that make sense? Does that clarify? Hopefully it does. I don't know, Aaron. I haven't tested that one. I have the Primary Arms Platinum on that gun that we just looked at. That was the Primary Arms Platinum 1-8. That's been a good optic. I definitely much prefer the Trigicon Credo 1-8 is definitely better. There's a little bit of things that I don't like, but at the time when I bought that Platinum, the Credo wasn't available, and even the AccuPower, because it was the Trigicon 1-8 AccuPower, and then they switched it over to a Credo, but it's the same scope. But at the time, that wasn't available, so the only thing I was looking at was either the $1,200 Platinum Primary 1-8 or Primary Arms 1-8, or you're going to spend like $2,000 on anything else that was 1-8. That was first focal plane. So it was like 8 months later that Trigicon came out with the AccuPower, which later on became the Credo. But I would say...
But you've had a lot of good use out of that.
Oh, I have. It's been a great scope. There's some features on there that once you see something better, it's like, oh, I got to have that. But there's some great features on it. There's some things that I don't like about it. But I don't know enough to tell you yes or no on that. I will tell you, bring his comment back up. I'm trying to see what the 6-30 by 56 first focal plane. Again, I don't know about that, but what I can tell you is I feel pretty confident that if you can find something in the Arken line that is pretty close to that. I don't know if they have a 6-30 power. I think 25 right now is the highest magnification to go. I would feel confident recommending one of those. But again, I've seen some pretty good stuff out of Primary Arms. That's probably some of the next line of scopes that I need to do some testing on to give you guys a better...
They redid their whole Platinum line
a
couple of years ago. Yeah.
I will say Primary Arms is getting more and more expensive. They're kind of going the way of Vortex, where they started out with kind of a budget option, and now they're getting to the point to where they're making... I assume higher quality stuff, but they're definitely making more expensive stuff. And I also know that in this market, there's manufacturers that definitely know and think they can get away with just upping prices and creating a new line without actually increasing quality. So, take that for what it's worth. What other questions we got?
Questions. Just some follow-up to the reload.
What did Shannon say?
right here.
What is a good DMR barrel length for rifles such as AR-10s to still be mobile and not have something that turns into a bench rifle? You know, you can get really good. I have a primary weapon systems AR-10 that is a 16-inch barrel, and that thing shoots you know, 1 MOA with some good ammo. I've played around with ammo on it. Some of it shoots 1.5, but again, it's not meant to be a precision rifle. But you can really play around with length a lot with 308. I will say that's one of the benefits there. Now, if you're going to get a 6.5 platform, I would also highly recommend F4 Defense. They make some really good rifles that you can get in 16 and 18 inch. I think 18 inch is really safe. So I think that was, if I was going to have a gun that I really kind of wanted to do it all with, that was a high quality precision gun, but if I needed to put it in a vehicle or clear a room with it, I think 18 inches is a pretty safe bet, even for 6.5. Yeah, you're going to lose some muzzle velocity. You're not going to be shooting out to a mile because, around 800 or 900 yards with a 18-inch barrel, we're going to start going into transonic, and, your consistency is in predictability is going to go down a little bit, but out to 800 yards, man, that thing will be a freaking sweet shooting gun all day long, and it's still short enough to. So I think 18 inches out to 800 yards, you're pretty safe bet, whether it's 6.5 or 308. Yeah, thank you, man, and keep tuning in from Sweden. We appreciate that. Athlon optics are pretty good, and I think the cost is staying good. I've heard good things about Athlon optics. That's another area of optics we need to do some testing on. Any experience with Vortex red dots? I was looking at one for my wife's AR. Do I have any of their red dots?
I don't think we have any.
I don't think so.
Red dots.
Oh, go
Speaking
grab
of which.
go grab the Holosuns.
Okay.
Derek, I'll tell you right now, I've been really impressed with Holosun though, and I just got 5 or 6 of their newest pistol, the small frame, and the larger ones for full size guns. That's going to be one of my next reviews, detailed reviews.
There's several over there. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the X2. Oh, yeah, this is the K. Anyways, some of the Holosun options I have had. Of course, I have had their basically what kind of looks like a aim point, right? I don't remember what model it is. Also, I have a SIG red dot that I have on one of my short-barreled guns that's suppressed, that has worked really, really well. I like that a lot. That's actually made by Holosun too. So Holosun is really up their game. As a matter of fact, I just talked to a Holosun rep yesterday. They're going to be sending me some of their brand new, I think it's the EPS or another one. A couple of their brand new, they haven't even released them yet. So they're going to be sending me some of those red dots to test out. But I don't know about Vortex. I do know that some people were having issues with the Vortex Spark at one point. But Holosun has really stepped up their game, and they're still extremely cheap. I know one of those, at least one of those, is the titanium version. So you get a full titanium housing on the Holosun. It's ruggedized. There's lots of reviews out there on how tough they are. That's the K. So the K series is for smaller guns.
Gotcha.
But that is their ruggedized one, the 8
RD.
Tango RD. That's a full titanium construction. You get multiple reticles. You can either do, I think it's a 2 MOA dot in the middle with a 42 something on the outside. I don't remember. I don't have all the specs on me, or one or the other or both. And then you can do it red or green. So for those of you who are colorblind, those are any of those options. Most colorblind folks can see green. So those are some better options I think out there, but they may be great. Does F4 build commie rifles? Does F4? I can't read.
Does F4 build rifles for the commie state?
Yes.
Well, they're in Maryland.
I don't know, John. I know that they're based out of Maryland. So go to F4 Defense. If there's any rifles there, contact me. I'm good friends with the owner. I was just on the phone with him today, as a matter of fact. So if there's something you're looking for, we are a dealer for them. I just don't usually keep them in stock. So let us know. What was that?
Paul wants the. I got you, Paul. Right here.
Well, we've also got the Holosuns too.
Well, I know.
Which,
Said
anyways,
wanted to.
okay, but if you, yeah. Anyways, so yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I don't know if they have some, but if they have some configured for New York or Maryland, which I know you're in New York, should have them on their website. And yeah, lots of studies in green and red. You acquire green faster on the draw. Yeah, that may be true. I don't like it. And maybe I'm just, I got so many reps. I started using a red dot sight with the initial deployment to Iraq. All the way back to, and even before that, we were using red dot sights, the aim points on our rifles. And as soon as I see green, it just makes my stomach turn a little bit. I don't know. So that's what they say. What scope do you recommend for an AR? Definitely the Trigicon Credo. Do we have one in stock?
I do have one.
I did a review on that. Man, I'm a big fan of that optic. I think for the money, it is hard to beat. It's what, like $1,300 or something like that. It's a 1-8. I think that's a good range. I've recently looked at some of the 1-10s. As you go up in the first focal plane, obviously if you go up in magnification, you're going up in weight. And I think 1-8 is more than enough magnification. The eye box in that is really large. There's a couple other scopes that I have that have higher magnifications, but the image doesn't. So 8 looks a lot more than even like 15 power on some of these other scopes because that image is so large. Which I talked a lot about that in this scope, and it's still surprising to me how big the eye box is on this and how big that image actually is. It's really good. But again, check out the review I did on the Trigicon Credo. It's listed on our YouTube page, and we do have one of those stocks. So if you're looking for one of those, we can get you a mount. If you want, I can even mount it up and get it all perfectly mounted before we send it out to you, and we'll take care of you.
I think that covers this question.
Yeah, I would say that covers my question on that too, Aaron. That 1-8. With that being said, click back.
Sorry.
It just depends on how far you're shooting out. But I think again, I've shot out to 750 yards with an AR using 223 with 90% round hits using that optic. So I think that's going to more than do it for you. And there again, I'm assuming that you're running that AR-15 with 6.5 and going to be using that as would like to potentially use that as a close quarters guns as well. So that really does. That optic gives you, with one power, you're seeing exactly what you see here with a nice bright red dot essentially, and then you dial that thing up and you get a whole Christmas tree reticle. You can easily use it for hold offs and quick corrections and change your point of impact. What other questions we got?
Derek just added, when we went through infantry school, we were taught on the aim points, red dots on pistols still mess me up.
Yeah, red dots on a pistol are, me and my buddy, he's a firearms instructor for Secret Service. They've been talking about switching over to a red dots, and they've been running them in classes and stuff, kind of starting that transition. And he said, man, the guys are having a really, really hard time. Now, you got to understand, whether we're talking about federal agents in general, they're not usually all that dedicated to being good shooting. So it is a little bit different in that people aren't necessarily trying. They're there because they have to be there. Now, it just takes a lot of reps, right? The way that you draw that gun, the way that you present that gun, it is going to be completely different. And you have to get, if you can just sit in your basement and, 100 draws and 100 presentations every night for a lot, right? Or as often as you can, you'll get back to where you were even using red dot sights. Iron sights. But it is it's different. It's different. Everything about it's different. And that's why there's so many red dot courses. I mean, you can take a iron sights and run it in again, this is one of the things that doesn't really bother me. But I feel like it's almost a false advertisement. All these companies that are offering red dot pistol courses, right? You know, you're doing the same thing. You're doing an exact pistol course, but now you're just running it with a red dot, and all you're doing is making sure that everybody understands how that works, how your presentation is going to be a little bit different. There's a, the good thing about red dots that I like about them is as you're training, if you're dry firing or even while you're shooting, it is much more obvious when you have a bad trigger squeeze or you're shifting that gun while you're shooting. So in that, I like. The other thing is when you're shooting strings of fire or you're shooting fast, you can actually track that sight a lot better. But there again, it just takes a lot of time making sure that you're acquiring that red dot on presentation.
Do you have a favorite drill for improving longer range pistol shots, say 25 yard plus?
Yeah, so not necessarily a favorite drill, but what I would continue to do is not go directly to 25 yards. That's a good way to waste a bunch of ammo and just make yourself frustrated, right? So again, there's lots of drills that you can do at starting off at 5, 10, 15, and start moving back. And whatever that point is, Lou, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 7, whatever it is, where you're starting to throw rounds, that's where you need to stay a little bit. So there's no quick answer. Just what it comes down to is that when you're shooting at distance, all of your bad fundamentals are going to be exaggerated. So that's really what it is make sure that you're really developing those fundamentals. Don't try to go from shooting at 5 yards and directly back to 25 yards because if you're not shooting well at 5, it's just going to look real ugly and waste a lot of rounds when you're back at 25 or further. So that's what I would say. Now, another thing that you can do if you want to shoot well at 25 is occasionally get your ass back at like 35, 40, 50 yards and see what your hit rate is. Shoot 10 rounds and then see what your impact percentage is. Did you hit 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever it is, and then move back up to 25. So, again, what we want to be able to do is present that pistol as quickly as possible and get a round on target as quickly as possible. What we don't want to do, a slow hit is always going to be faster than the fast miss. So, build those fundamentals at shorter distance and start moving back. Figure out where your fundamentals, the line of that fundamentals, and then you can start moving back. But I will say, you want to shoot well at 25, every now and then jump back at 50. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no doubt about it that, again, if you're doing competitive shooting or any type of shooting, right, even defensive shooting, a red dot, there's a lot of benefits. Your eye is drawn to it quicker. The biggest problem, and I talk about this in a lot of different videos, but the biggest problem with iron sights is that your eye is constantly, and you may not even realize it, but your eye is constantly going back and forth trying to figure out is it focusing on the rear sight, the front sight, or the target, where you don't have to make that decision. Your eye doesn't make that decision. So when you're using a red dot sight, you are, again, kind of projecting that reticle out there, and it's on the same plane. That's why there's zero parallax in them, and that's what that means. I can move that gun I can move it all around, but as long as that red dot is on target and I get a good clean trigger squeeze, whereas those iron sights are nothing but parallax. And I'm sure many of you that have done any pistol shooting, whether you realize it or not, a lot of times if you're hitting low, it's because you're looking at the front sight and then you go to squeeze the trigger and you've transitioned your focus from that front sight to the target. And your eye is always going to go to two things, color contrast and movement. And your eye is wanting to look at the target. And that's why so many people miss, because they're actually not focusing on the front sight when they squeeze that trigger. Thanks, Lou. Hopefully that helps. What other questions we got? Any other gripes or complaints about summer? All right, so a couple things that I'd like to do is we got a few guns that I'd like to just kind of show you guys real quick. I'm gonna get this rifle out of the way. I'm not gonna say that these pistols are going to be on our website because that would be selling guns over the interwebs. I just want to show them to you. But if you want to check the website, something similar may be there. So let's talk about, we just got in, again, we've had a lot, there's a huge demand for optic ready guns, right? And for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge fan of the M&P line. Jackson, give me some overhead camera action.
What?
Just hit 2 and then auto.
I did.
All right.
Camera 2's not working.
All right. Let's see here. All right, don't worry about it. All right, so basically what we have here is, I don't know why it's not working. Let's see if we can get back on here.
I'll tell you whenever it works.
All right. Oh, let me make sure our chair. All right, give me some overhead. All right, so this right here is the M&P. It's a special edition. You get a knife and all this other good stuff with you. It's a 2.0. I don't know what the actual model number is, but it's 2.0, 9 mil. All right, the gun's clear, but you do get, it is optic cut. It's ready to go. I personally prefer the M&P 2.0 over the Glocks. And then you do get, you get a knife, you get a coin. But if you are, and this is suppressor ready as well. So if you're looking for that, where you want, we have a threaded barrel. So it's optic cut and suppressor ready. Pretty cool option. Oh, it comes with the optic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember?
that's right.
It's not.
I would probably
do something different, but
I would probably upgrade to a Hollow Sun, one of the K series. I'm sorry, not the K series. Actually, the 508 Tango, which is the titanium. So there's that. What else we got here? We also just got in. One of these are probably going to become mine, but we have the compact. So it's similar to a Glock 19 in that it's just a shorter. You get 15 rounds instead of 18 or whatever. I think 17. But I really like the way this gun feels in my hand. But again, it's optic ready. Optic sights, the higher optic sights that come with it, ready to go. So that is available. What else we got? We got some SIGs.
yeah, we do.
If you guys, by far, folks, my favorite micro compact is definitely the 365. This is the SIG. Is it the Spectre? No, Spectre. What is X? So this is the SIG P365X.
Thanks, Lou, by the way.
It comes with a red dot sight. There again, I think this is all plastic housing. I'd look at upgrading that to a Hollow Sun K series or some of the other offerings that some of the other companies make, whether it's Trigicon or whatever else. The fact of the matter,
Not all X's come with the Romeo. It's just this
Yeah.
package I got
Yep.
with the.
But these are nice in that they come with their flat trigger, which I'm a huge fan of. It comes with a bright front sight. Let me see if I can get that in. Which is also a big fan of. I would still probably upgrade that to Dawson sights. But this is a really nice gun. The trigger squeeze on it is really nice. I like that a lot. Has a nice reset. Everything else, what's that?
You're gonna get us kicked off Facebook and YouTube.
No, freaking looking at guns. Just looking at guns. Nothing to see here, Zuckerberg. Or Zucker from CNN.
The other thing I do have is this CZ that.
Yeah, we also have, folks, I'll tell you what, CZs are some of the most underrated pistols out there. They are some really good firearms. Everything about them is really nice.
That's the P10C, I think.
This is the P10C, the compact. When people are having some issues shooting, I have one of these as a student gun. I often give this to them to shoot, but I love really everything about these guns. They're really well made. Let me show you something real quick. I want you guys to see how beefy this, hopefully you can see that. All right, this barrel, the locking block on this is just a beefy, everything about it is super well made, super well engineered. They're just some really nice underrated guns. They really should have a larger market share than they do. And they just, they just don't do a lot of, I guess I should put that back.
Yeah.
They just don't do a lot of marketing. And I ended up getting, I forgot how I acquired one of the guns that I have, but I wouldn't even, if I didn't happen to come across one, I wouldn't have known either, because I hadn't really heard anything about them, or that much, man. I know they're around and all that good stuff, but again, they are a really underrated gun overall.
Gotcha.
Forward camera, Jackson.
What?
You have one job. One job. And all you do is toggle back and forth between some cameras. All right. What other questions we got out there? Anything else?
Gripes or complaints about summer?
Anything else? Yeah, folks. So again, next weekend we have Tactical Carbine Level 1 and 2. Hopefully, we still got a couple slots in that. We'd love to see some of you guys out there in that. Walthers are good, Lou. There's nothing wrong with Walthers at all. There was a couple of them. Come on, Jackson.
Jackson.
First of all, I did my job.
There's a couple of. I will say, generally speaking, about Walthers, there's several features that I like better, the way the guns present, things like that. But there's nothing wrong with Walthers. If you like a Walther, you shoot a Walther well, run that thing all day long. When it comes to their PDP or some of the other ones, I do think that I like the way that the SIG P365 feels better. I believe it's a higher capacity. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at PDP in a long time. But my next concealed gun will be a Optic mounted P365 XL. That's what I'm going to get. And the triggers are great in those. I have noticed that. So anyways, the P365 is. What is your favorite dry fire drill? Anything with the Mantis, Yamo. And Yamo, thanks for tuning in from Puerto Rico.
The Mantis X.
The Mantis X. They're number one. And again, I think a couple weeks ago we did a live stream. We talked a little bit about the Mantis. My biggest observation, training thousands of people over the last many years, is that the more people dry fire, the worse they become at shooting, unless they have something that gives them diagnostic feedback that lets them know exactly what they're doing. Because a lot of times all you're doing is building bad habits. If you're just dry firing with no feedback, you end up often worse. If you go through that Mantis X, it's a big investment, it's like $250, and then I would also make sure that you get a dry fire mag, which is another $100. So you're looking at $350, but it is worth it. Number one, that's basically $1 a day for a year on a device that you'll have for many, many years. They constantly update it. It has gotten really small. You can put on a rifle, pistol, shotgun, bow. So it's a good investment in that it shows you what you're doing every single time that you squeeze the trigger. But then also they have a ton of programs, everything from draw analysis. You can use that live fire, dry fire, and then they have a whole entire training program. What I will say, whether you get that or not, one of the things that we all need to do more, and I'm talking to myself as much as anybody, that will help you shoot better is support hand shooting, right? Dry fire or shooting. Folks, one of the biggest problems with people shooting is they lose the mind-muscle connection with their support hand. So a lot of times, I see people, they're shooting, and I watch them. They start off like if I have them do a rhythm drill where they're shooting 5 rounds. I'll see that first round, boom, both hands recoil back with the gun, and then my screen goes out. I see that first round go off, both hands recoil with the gun, and by the second or third, fourth, fifth shot, all that support hand doing is sitting there, and I see all the recoil happening with one hand. So spend more time, whether you're dry firing or not, on using that support hand only, so that we establish that mind-muscle connection with our dumb hand, because we don't realize what that thing is doing, and a lot of times it's not gripping the gun, it's not supporting the gun. So the more that we can do with that, the better. What else we got?
I don't know who Paul
Harrow is. Never heard of her.
Lou said informative. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, Lou. Any thoughts, CD Shadow versus P320 Max? No, Edilberto, I don't. I haven't. I've seen the Shadow. I know it's a really nice gun. It's an expensive gun. I don't like P320s personally, so I would default to the CC. But Dan, and I'm sure I have some other SIG fanboys on here. I know a lot of people love them some SIGs. The 320 to me has an extremely high bore axis. It has a strange trigger squeeze. I bought one of it was the P320. It was basically like a competition ready gun, right? I don't even remember. It had a flared magwell, had a bunch of Gucci stuff on there. I used it for like a week, and then I didn't toss it. I sold it, right? So I just don't like the P320s. I think they have the bore axis too high. Are they good, reliable guns? Absolutely. And if you like them, great. But I'm not. I personally think that an M&P and the Glocks are better guns. And out of those two, I prefer M&P, but Glocks are great guns as well. Again, the AK-47, the pistol world. Yeah, so it's definitely small. The 365, I think, will do you a little bit better there. Both of those are great guns, but again, those Walthers are great too. There's lots. That's the nice thing about everything going on right now is like there's so much competition. Whether you're looking at the new, they now have the Smith & Wesson Shield. They upgraded Shield now.
Shield Plus.
The Shield Plus. Those are good guns. Again, I hate SIG, but I love the 365. I think it is right now the perfect. It just fits in your hand. It shoots like a. I just lost it. Hey, anybody else out there do IT work? Because I think I just lost my IT guy. The P365 shoots like a full-size gun for the most part. It being double stacked, a little bit wider, it feels better. I don't like the Shield because it has a longer, and I own 2 or 3 of them, but it has a longer. I don't like the way that the grip is.
Before the 365 came out, that's what we carried was the Shield.
Yeah, no, we did.
We had several.
And again, it was definitely one of the best micro compacts before the Shield came out. So
Before
there's
the
no doubt about
365
that.
came out.
What else we got?
Just the boo from
Boo.
from Sig Fanboy.
Yeah. The other thing we got going on, folks, was it the 9th and 10th or 10th and 11th? Long range.
Is the 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th. We got our long.
Saturday and Sundays.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, 9th and 10th of April. Mm-hmm. We have our long range course, long range level 1 and 2. Make sure you go check that out. We also have our mid range. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's a 2-day course.
Our long range courses are 2 days. So on April 9th and 10th, we have our long range level 1. Folks, we're going to teach you everything that you need to know about long range. We're going to take the voodoo out of that stuff. We're going to give you a good external ballistics class where I think it's the perfect amount where we don't overwhelm you. And then we're going to get out on the range and we're going to do some shooting, and you will make hits out to 1,000 yards. Again, if there's any long range accessories that you're looking for or want to know what I recommend, make sure you go to our website. The only things on our website are stuff that I recommend. There's also a lot of stuff I recommend that aren't on our website, but we just haven't got around to carrying those particular items. But with that being said, all the stuff on there, you can be rest assured that we've tested it. We believe that it represents the best in that particular genre, whether it's bipods, whatever it is. So you can go there and check that out and shop with some ease of mind. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys out for our long range course of tactical carbine level 1. Again, if you don't have guns, you don't have gear, we got you covered. We got everything that you need to show up with, and heck, we'll even take care of your lunch for you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we will make sure that it is simple and easy to come shoot with us and come train with us. And again, one of the things I always want, I know a lot of people, whether they're man, woman, boy, girl, or anything else you decide that you are on any given day, it can be intimidating to come to some of these courses. I promise you, just like this, this is who we are, right? So this is what you're going to get. There's no ego on the range with any of our instructors. There's no ego amongst our students. That's what I love about the type of people that we have in courses. Man, everybody here is just to make sure that you have a good experience and you improve. I don't care what level of shooter you are, whether you've never touched a gun or you're an elite shooter that can outshoot all of our instructors. I don't care. What we can do is we're going to coach you and we're going to identify areas where you can improve. So
and just the people that come out to class, like Gary said, that it really becomes like a little family.
It really does.
I mean,
100%.
Everyone encourages each other and cheers each other on, and it's very positive. And
we'll be wrapping this up here shortly, but again, I want to continue to get good ideas when it comes to our YouTube content. We're going to continue to put out better and better and better YouTube videos. So if there's something else that you want to see, whether it's some big thing or some small thing, continue to give us ideas on that. And the big thing is, come train with us. That's all of this YouTube stuff that I reluctantly got into really is all just, the intent here is to generate people that want to come out and train with us. That's what it's really about, because like I always say, guns and gear are great, but what we're really about is training. So also our med courses, we got some med courses coming up. Come check that out. Also, we have some wilderness family survival courses. Folks, especially in this world, all I can think about is all these people in Ukraine, right? In Kiev and some of these other places, it's just like here. And there's lots of people running around there that can't change a tire, much less really know how to start a fire, much less know how to get water, know how to procure food, know how to dress an animal. So I really recommend and encourage you guys to come out to that. Bring your families. It's going to be a great weekend. We've tried to make that course as cheap as possible, but it's going to be a fun course in a camping environment. You're not going to be surviving or anything like that. You're going to be comfortable the whole time, but we're going to teach you some real life skills and some survival skills. But also what we're going to do is teach you to plan to make sure that you're not in a survival situation to begin with. That's really what it's about. And we're also going to throw some life skill things in there, like changing the tire. The last NRA survival course that we did, the NRA used to contract us to do these courses before they got rid of their training division and decided just to quit doing this type of stuff at all. But, I realized we were talking around the fire and, there was like 3 people there that literally couldn't change a tire. So, we pulled up a vehicle and we gave them a tire changing course. So stuff like that. And what I want to end up doing is making these courses to where they're building onto one another, where that you can come to one and it's a standalone course, but also you can come to multiple courses and learn something new every time. So we're going to continue to do some stuff like that. I want people to be more prepared, more thoughtful about when things go wrong, right? So, I can genuinely see a time. Most of the people in Ukraine right now, they're not getting shot and killed. They're starving to death. They're dying of dehydration. It's crazy to me. And again, it's just these basic skills. We think we've evolved out of this caveman. Well, you know what? Some of those cavemen would do better today than a lot of people out there, because at least they could get their own food. So we want to make sure that you're more prepared than you are now, and just again give you some planning techniques to mitigate any sort of just when things go wrong. Start talking about planning for water purification. Start planning for food reserves and things like that, and just putting you in a better mindset to plan things out. Whether you're going on a trip, make sure you build some contingency things in there. Whether it's first aid, whether it's food, whether it's water, all that good stuff. What else we got? Any other questions? What'd Paul say? Yeah, we're not getting a shotgun class. If we do, we're gonna get a trap machine out there and just shoot some clays in the air. All right, folks. Look, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Hopefully that was informative. Hopefully that was helpful. We got some more classes up there or questions. Ukraine is pretty much one to.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you out, man. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I still do some work for the government, and right now almost everything that we're doing is based around some of the things that I'll be responding to on that side of the house. It's crazy, and again, that's the driving force behind everything. And now we're seeing how these types of things, these world events, are affecting us, basically because we're not more prepared at home. We're more reliant on foreign oil than we ever were. And we see how this affects everything that we do, whether it's food prices, gas prices, and everything else. So, again, we need to be aware of what's going on in the world and how those things affect us, but also making sure that we are putting in place some stop gaps so that if something bad does happen, we can take care of ourselves, we can take care of our family, and at least, for God's sakes, be able to start a fire even if it's raining, right? Or, be able to procure water and purify water. And I'm not talking about, rubbing sticks together. I'm talking about easy ways that you can do these things easily and fast and in an emergency situation, as well as the first aid thing as well. So anyways, go check out our course lineup. We want to have you guys out handgun courses, tactical long range courses, carbine courses, and our med courses. For God's sakes, if you don't do anything else, go sign up for one of our med courses. We will teach you how to save lives. We'll point you in the right direction for the right equipment and
The
all
next
the other
one's
things.
May.
Next one is May. So go
Mid-May.
sign up for that. Those courses do sell out. Well, again, folks, hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you guys, again, we just appreciate you guys tuning in. Go check out our website. Go check out our upcoming courses. Go check out our videos on YouTube. Please share all this stuff. We always appreciate that. One share, if we get 2 or 3 new viewers or whatever else, that goes a long way. 2 or 3 new customers, that goes a long way. So we appreciate when you guys share this stuff. It matters. It has a big impact. It really does. I mean, if everybody, we got almost 10,000 subscribers. If every single one of them shared a video every time we posted one, we'd have 100,000 subscribers. There's no doubt about it. So anyways, we appreciate the support. We appreciate you tuning in. We want you guys to have a safe and wonderful weekend. Until next time, stay armed, stay ready, and we'll talk to you soon.